Hello, everyone. This is Rebecca Green for the Whiny Palooza podcast, and I am very excited today because I get to talk to the lovely Mary Crocker Cook. Mary, thank you so much for doing this with me today.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I love her topic. I love her book title. I want to tell you all about her. She's a fantastic lady. Mary is a licensed therapist with over 30 years of experience, a longtime women empowerment advocate, and an expert in relationship dynamics. Drawing from her personal journey and professional expertise, Mary's newly released book, get ready for this title, Bad Taste, Self-Care and Financial Stability for Women with Bad Taste in Men. What a good title, Mary. She offers practical advice with a humorous twist. She provides insights into overcoming relationship patterns, cultivating self care, and achieving financial independence, making her a sought after speaker and conversational guest. She's going to be an awesome guest, and I love this topic, and I'm really excited to talk to her. And I want to know, okay, what inspired you to write the book and share your journey and tell me where you got the title from?
Okay. All right. Let's do all of it. Okay.
Yes,
I,
lots of too many
that's
questions.
all right. That's all right. You know, because I've been working with women and men for a very, very long time, and I have my own life story. One of the things that it's common for people in my world to have commented on my own incredibly bad taste in men. I have observed the bad taste in men in my a lot of my women clients, and one of the reasons I wanted to write this has to do with the fact why do we do it? But
Yeah,
more importantly, maybe we're not ready to change it because a lot of books are around how to change it. In fact, I've written multiple books on how to change it, right? But the goal here is sometimes we aren't leaving, right? Sometimes
yeah,
we need to stay. We need to somehow, make this take care of ourselves in spite of the fact it might not be the best relationship. Okay. So
mm,
I have, it's broken down into the different types of people we choose, right? So,
yeah,
yes, I'm married to a cheater, but we have kids, right? Or I'm in a long term relationship with a career criminal and he's not going to change. Or he's an addict and he's not going to quit. Or he doesn't like to work. Okay, that's not going to change. So there's a lot of things that, our heart wants what it wants. And at the same time, we still need to be able to do what's called harm reduction in the addiction field, which is
mhm.
okay, how do I mitigate the damage despite the fact I'm in a less than ideal situation?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that sounds like a fantastic tool for women. And I'm just curious, you said a little bit about that in what you just said, but what are the common patterns that you're seeing with the bad taste? Like, what are
Okay.
the bad taste themes?
Yeah, one of the things that all of these different relationships have in common is
Mm,
unavailability. And so
mm,
some of what I address is the idea that because of early childhood disruption and our own ability to connect and attach in a secure way, we have a tendency to choose people who are not available emotionally or even physically sometimes, and then try to make it work because that's our early patterning.
yes.
So in some ways, it doesn't matter if I'm with a cheater or I'm with a criminal or whatever. What they all have in common is we're not connected. We're not connecting in a healthy, secure way.
That makes so much sense. So, as a woman who maybe I feel like the woman listening feels like she has bad taste in men, how can she start to identify and recognize these patterns?
I think part of it is, you can do kind of a relationship historical timeline, right? Sometimes we do a relationship postmortem. Most of us do ad
Hmm.
nauseum. And
Hmm.
one of the things you can start to see are themes and
Yeah.
say, what are the themes here? And we have a tendency to focus on them. It's not about them. It's about me. And okay, what the common denominator here is me. So I'm doing the choosing. So what is happening? or what is going on with me that this seems to be a comfort zone for me, right? And the truth is, the people who love you can tell you.
Yes.
Because
Oh,
yes,
yes.
even on my website, badtastedmen.com, there is a PDF for friends and family of women with bad taste, because they go through it with us. And even if I didn't know, I could ask my best friend and she could just line it up for me. Okay. Because they watch this train wreck situation and they're like,
Yes.
helpless to stop it. But they can
It's,
certainly observe it.
yeah, it's really amazing if and you can tell me if you
Yeah.
disagree, if your friends and family do not like your relationship, take a good hard look at why. I'm just gonna say, right?
Especially if it's not a pattern with them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes,
normally they're very
yes,
welcoming. So what's up with this one that yeah, listen to them. They're so smart. They're
yes. Oh,
so
that's
smart.
such good advice. So, in your book, you emphasize self-care.
Yeah.
Can you talk about some of your top tips when someone's navigating a difficult relationship?
Well, part of it, the biggest one is you don't lie to yourself. Okay. Because
Mm,
the main way we get in them and stay in them is we lie to ourselves. Okay. And I'll give you a good example. The other day, I went to a hockey game with a guy I didn't know very well, but I love hockey. He likes hockey, so I thought, let's go to hockey. So we go. And I was feeling a bit peculiar, and I wasn't sure why. Like, what's going? Something wasn't right. So we're in the car, and at one point we're talking about social stuff, and he makes the statement, "Yeah, I'm highly social, so I don't have to connect." Ha ha ha. But then we kept chatting, chatting, chatting. All right. Now, there were a couple times during the evening where we did connect briefly.
mm,
Now, in the old days, I would have focused on those couple of times where we connected and gone, hey, and then try to make that work. What happens when you don't lie to yourself is you listen to what people say and
yes,
and believe them. So when
yes.
he said that, it's like, oh, so already I have some availability information going in. But in
Mm.
my 30s and 40s, whoop, right over my head. Ah,
That is a really I'm proud of him for knowing that about himself,
yes.
but that's a really
Well,
odd statement because
I
isn't
know.
socializing connecting?
No, not at all. Oh, heavens, no. I
No,
no. People chat,
if
chat, chat, chat. Extroverts don't connect worth a crap. I mean,
I'm an extrovert.
sorry. I mean, you can chat, 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 but you don't necessarily have any kind of meaningful exchange.
Okay, okay, so it's the context of what the socializing is about.
Probably. Yes,
That
and the
oh,
fact that
that's
we're meeting each other at a mutual level, right? Where we're both, sharing parts of ourselves with each other. Yeah.
so interesting. Okay, I've never had it explained that way. I'm already learning stuff.
Sorry about that. That
No,
was said a
you
little harshly, but yeah.
I want you to be your authentic, honest self. And you know what? I can take it. I want to learn. So, as far as staying with self care, you
Yeah.
talk about self care in the context of staying or leaving. Can you explain that?
Yeah. I mean, I think the idea is you don't have, it's kind of like with addiction. I don't have to wait for somebody to get sober for me to start getting healthier. In other words,
Yes.
okay, well, it's the same idea. Okay, he's going to be a criminal. All right. What can I do to protect myself financially? How can I plan? How does I explained in the book, for example, how bail works, what civil forfeiture is, how much it costs to have like an ankle bracelet. I
Oh
talk
my
about that stuff. I know, but it's like, okay, things like making sure you're on the lease because they lose their job when they get arrested. So you need to be able to maintain your home.
yes.
I mean, stuff like
Yes.
that is very practical, right? It's like, well, here's what you need to do. If this is what, if you are married to or in a long-term relationship with somebody who is a user, okay, it's really important that their name is not on your children's college fund because they will steal the money for the college fund. So you make sure that the money gets played. So I mean, I know those are kind of hard things, but the truth is, after listening to women, things like if my long-term partner is a narcissist and has a really nasty ass personality disorder, don't do anything if you do leave them other than an attorney. Don't try to work cooperatively. Don't try to have one of those, you know, uh, negotiated. No, go straight to the attorney because they're going to violate every agreement they make with you. So
No, that's really good.
that's the
That's
kind
really
of
good
that's
advice.
the kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's so sad. This topic is actually really sad that women are dealing with such difficult people, and I know that they are.
yeah.
And I also know that a lot of women, I don't mean to be gender specific, but
No, that's okay.
a lot of women stay
Mm-hmm,
because of finances.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, can we talk about
Yes,
how
they
they can
do.
start to regain their financial independence?
So one of the things I talk a lot about is making sure that you establish your own credit. Again, that you have your name on your name is always anywhere you live.
Yeah.
Make sure that I put in there a couple of examples of certifications and jobs you can begin to train for within a
Mm,
fairly short period of time that can make some decent money. Um, I'm trying I'm things like getting a safety deposit box to put your valuables in so that you don't risk losing them. If you're dating a married man, making sure he gives you jewelry because you can sell it if you need to start over when he dumps you. Okay, because he's not leaving his wife. Okay, so things.
yeah.
I mean, I know it's like, but you need to be thinking ahead. But that
Mhm.
again means you can't lie to yourself, right? It's
Yes.
like I have to
Yes.
be able to tell the truth. Okay, if I'm going to stay and I'm staying a lot of time, I love him. Not even, I mean, yeah, I need the money or whatever, but we have kids or religion or I love the guy. Okay, you love him, all right.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
but you need to do some planning around this.
can you give them an example of somebody who is lying to themselves?
Well, the thing I said a minute ago around hyper focusing on the couple of times he was yeah, instead of paying attention to what he actually said about himself. That's a big example. But
Yes.
another one is um, again, he all right. You meet somebody and they tell you, I'm such an asshole. I've always been bad at relationships.
Oh God.
Believe them. Men say that stuff all the time. And what women say is, because I've heard them, right? I've heard them say
Yes.
to me.
Yep.
And what women say to themselves is, poor guy, he has a bad self-esteem. I would be a better relationship for him and he'd feel better about himself. I mean, you begin to tell yourself the story about if he was with you, it would be different. If he tells you, yeah, I know I've had a couple bankruptcies, but it wasn't my fault. Don't listen. Okay. I'm just, if he doesn't pay his child support, he's not going to pay your alimony. I am just saying, don't lie to
Yeah.
yourself. Okay?
Wow.
Don't
These
lie to yourself. It's
examples.
hard. I know, but there it
Um,
is.
the hard truth, ladies.
I'm sorry. But okay, so then what you do, okay, he's drinking, he's not going to stop drinking. And I have a story in there about a really dear friend I love very much was not going to stop drinking. I love this guy. And what I would do is we would find times when he was less drunk where we could connect. And I tried to enjoy him until he passed away of alcoholism. You
Oh,
you find those places,
yeah.
right? All right, let's say I have a guy that's emotionally, immature. So occasionally just loses his crap. But other times he's a good companion, right? So the thing is, you don't have to make them the bad guy. What you do is you see the whole picture. Like, yeah, he's a narcissist, but he's also really good at house upkeep. So, all right, you basically lay it out in a way that makes it manageable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes so much sense. It's
Not
really
romantic though. I
it's
know.
not romantic. I mean, I'm just digesting everything you're saying, and you're making me very thankful for my husband. I will go tell him this.
Good. You know what? There's a lot of absolutely fabulous men. I love them. And in fact,
There are.
and I see a lot of really lovely men, and they treat their partners very, very well. And really, this little book, it's only 80 pages. It's not about the men as much as us and what we're doing and how to take care of ourselves. It's, because what all
Yeah.
of them are the same in the sense that they're unavailable.
Yes,
They're unavailable.
that's a good way to
Yeah.
summarize what the issue is. So you use humor a lot. You've already made me laugh a lot. And I know
Good.
you use humor in your work, in
I
your
do.
book. Can you talk about how that helps in difficult relationships?
Because most people, first of all, people learn better when they are laughing. We have a tendency to
Yes.
learn. We have a tendency, our defenses go down, right? And so it's easier sometimes for us to see things. When we see it, we can find something about it that's stupid or ridiculous. Okay. And part of surviving and thriving in really hard times is having support where we, because laughter is based on perspective. Okay. So when you have other people who recognize and get it, that you can share it with, it also diminishes some of the isolation and shame,
Mm,
right? Because the other downside of staying with somebody, other people are a little judgy about, is you feel embarrassed sometimes, or you feel like you have to be secretive. And so I have places in here where people can, reach out and connect for support, like Al-Anon or National Alliance for Mental Illness, or places where women can go, hey, okay, I need to be, if when I can tell the truth, particularly with another person who gets it, there's an opportunity for humor, right?
yes,
Yeah,
that's wonderful.
dark humor is binds people all the time. People with a bad manager. One of the ways that people in companies with shitty management survive is dark humor, right?
That is true. Very true. Well, you're making me laugh, so I'm sure you make
I'm glad.
your clients laugh, and I'm
I'm
sure they
glad.
love you. Well, we want to teach our daughters to have healthy relationships. I
Right.
know I want to teach I mean, I have a son too, but I want to teach my daughters
Right.
to choose good men. So tell us how we can do this from a young age.
Part of it is paying attention to what your body is tells you, because we feel things before we think them. Okay? So remember, let's go back to the hockey story. I was feeling something before I could name it. Okay? So we have a lot of information that we're screening out, or we can screen it in. Okay? So, how do I feel when I'm with this person? Do I like myself? Do I feel like they see and hear me accurately? Like, do I feel seen and heard? Okay? That's important. And that's true in friendship. I mean, that's true in a romantic relationship. It's like, do I feel like you see me? And secondarily, now, are you available for the same thing? Right? So
Goes
if there's
both
a
ways.
mutuality that has to exist for any relationship to be healthy, right?
Yeah.
But our
I mean,
bodies are smart. Our bodies are smart.
so smart. I'm amazed that you said that. That is really good. And I want to tell you, as a giver, I personally was giving, giving, giving. And when I met my husband and he was giving back, I was like, oh, other people give too.
Ah, how about that?
No, but we shouldn't be doing all of the give, give, give.
No,
It's two ways. It goes two ways.
that's the way it's supposed to go. And what happens
Yes.
then is, what is my nervous system doing? My nervous system is calm. Because one of the things that happens when these relationships are out of balance is we're in fight or flight a lot, right? And so I'm constantly a little agitated. I'm not settled, right? I'm working too hard. I'm overgiving. It's like our
Yeah.
nervous system tells us a lot about who's in our world because it's reading it. We're always reading everything. It's part of our neurology is to read things, right? And that'll tell you who's in the room, right? Because your nervous system will tell you, like, watch that, watch, right?
That is amazing advice. That'll tell you right there how you
It
feel with
will,
somebody. Yes.
but you have to listen.
Yeah, well, and we don't. A
We
lot of us,
don't.
we ignore things. We're
We
good at
have,
ignoring.
or making excuses or say, oh, it's just, they're having a bad day, whatever. Believe people when they tell you about themselves because they do.
Such good advice. Amazing. Well, and we want women to build their self-confidence.
Yes.
So, can you give them a piece of advice to help them work on that?
Well, I think a lot of self confidence has to do with, again, telling yourself the truth so you have the actual information to make a good decision,
Mm,
right? The more
yeah,
I lie to myself and the more I candy coat things all the time, the more vulnerable I am to stepping in crap, right? The idea is, okay, if I can see the landscape, I can be fairly sure of myself, right? So the more kind of the Lulu I am, the harder it is to feel good about me.
yeah. That's really good. That's so true. Well, and I know you're in a hard place as a therapist to be with someone, to be sitting with someone and hearing about their relationship, and you want to be compassionate
Yeah,
and you want to empower them.
yeah.
So how do you balance those two? How do you balance that in the session?
What an excellent question, Rebecca. Okay, the compassion comes from it is highly unlikely they've chosen worse than I'm capable of. Okay, so I I don't have a tremendous amount of judgment about it. Um, my my goal is for them to see when I look at them, for them to see what I see. Because most of these times, these are marvelous women. They're they're educated, they're smart, they're funny, competent as no as all get out. Okay, responsible. They've probably taken care of their parents and their kids and their these are awesome women. And so part of it is for me to help them see what I see and that they matter. Like the whole goal is look, you matter too. I'm not saying you need to become a narcissist. I'm saying that you're not even factoring you in.
Yeah.
So the goal here is, I matter also. And, that's a good place to start. And then we'll see. But it's hard because I can see them. I have the luxury of just meeting them and I don't have, their backstory yet. I'm just looking at this person and I'm like, good Lord, you know, I don't know how this guy gets to carry your purse. You know what I mean?
I know, I have often said to people, I wish you saw yourself how I see
I
you.
know.
I so wish that for you.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
yeah, and so the goal is, and I tease them and exaggerate how fabulous they are, and I find ways to make them laugh at themselves, but mainly it's genuine affection because I get it. And this little book is written with affection. It's like, look, I want you guys, I want women to be okay. I want us to be okay, and we can be. People will spend a ridiculous amount of money in therapy talking about why do other people do things? Why does he say that? Why does he do that? I don't know. He's not in the room. Can we talk
Oh,
about the person in the room?
yes,
Why do
please.
you say that? Why do you think that? Right? I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I could make some guesses, but I have never met this individual. Okay. But I do know you. Let's talk about you. It is rare for people to have 50 minutes to an hour where they actually can focus on themselves because
Oh,
we are so overstimulated and pulled in so many directions. And it's funny, some people will come in, men and women, and they'll plop their butt on the couch and they go, right? Almost like they've been running a marathon. And it's like, oh, okay.
it sounds wonderful. I'm going to come to your couch and I'm going to plop down and I'm going to talk to you for 50 minutes.
Well, I do that. I saw my therapist Tuesday. Are you kidding? I like run up in there. I'm like, because again, I need that.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
need reflected back to me through her what she sees when
Yeah.
I am discouraged and I feel like what I'm doing is pointless or whatever is going on with me. I need her reflection and to try to and to trust her that what she sees is true, right? When
That's
I don't
wonderful.
feel it, she
Yeah.
can, and I have to like borrow her hope for a few minutes.
Yes.
Okay, that's kind of what it is. I'm trusting her what she sees enough to kind of get me moving because right now I can't get me moving. So I'm going to have to trust she's right.
I
And
love
I'll
it.
do
I love it so much. I love that you have that. And I want to talk about the women listening who feel stuck. They
sure.
feel stuck right now. What's some advice for them? And they
Okay,
don't want to be stuck.
I get it. Part of us being stuck is again because you really want the other person to be different. Okay, so a lot of the reason you're stuck is because you're like, well, if only, right?
Yes.
The deal is,
Yes.
okay, what are my options given the situation? The only options I have are what I choose to do. How do I take care of me? What can, in fact, let's say you are, in a long term relationship with a narcissist. Okay. That means you're going to need to bring other people into your world who can see and hear you because that person is deaf. Okay. And they're hypercritical. So you'll never get it right ever, ever. So you give up. You give up on ever getting it right. What you do is you create a world or an opportunity for you to be in spaces where you are seen and heard, where you do have a voice, where you do get what you need. Because once I recognize this person isn't capable of doing it, instead of trying to make them do it,
Yeah.
right? It's like, okay, in other words, this is not an option. What are my actual options given to givens? Right? And some people decide ultimately because they have these windows of support, they think, well, I kind of would like to have more of that. And ultimately they might change it. Or it might just sort of get them through whatever they need to get through. But focusing on how to make the other person change it's deadly because you can't.
Well, that is really interesting because if you think about it, how you just explained it so well, we're not stuck if we're focusing on what we can do.
Right.
So that makes so much sense. So we're
Yeah.
really never stuck if we look at the steps that we can take ourselves.
Yeah. What are my actual options here? Right?
Yes.
And they may be
Yes.
small. And I think we get really focused on the big solutions. I
Hmm.
need to leave. Well, you're not leaving right now. Let's be honest, you're not. So if that's not on the table, what is on the table? Right? So focusing on even small things like 15 minutes a day where I sit and I'm quiet and I'm not stimulated and nobody's asking me for anything and I'm able to just let my nervous system breathe, right? Or maybe it's the beverage choice instead of my fourth cup of coffee, which jacks me up. Maybe what I need to do is have a cup or two of coffee a day and have more nourishing things, right? I
Yeah.
control that. I
It's a,
control that.
it's amazing. Little changes can make such a big
Such a
difference.
big difference.
Yes, I
It
agree
doesn't
with
have to
that.
be the big thing.
Well, and I don't know what you're comfortable sharing and not sharing, but I would love to know how your own personal stuff affects your like professional
Uh,
advice, how it's
okay.
impacted you.
Yeah, I think the biggest way it impacts me is that I'm rarely judgmental, meaning, part of being a person in long-term recovery is that what happens in recovery is that you always talk about what your side of the street is, right? And so to stay sober, you have to look at your part. You have to say, what, so I just picked up my 35-year chip. I got 35 years of experience
Wow.
um,
That's amazing.
saying, what's my part? So because I've been schooled in that so heavily, um, I try to tell the truth about myself and the situations I'm in. And I specifically have people in my world that if I don't, they will.
Mm.
So so I think that's really how it's informed me, which is I try to really own it. And that means I'm able to, when I'm seeing it in the person across from me, I'm able to recognize how hard it is. And, I tend to lead with my heart in the sense that, okay, this is hard. I'll also tell you why it's doable because I've done it or I've seen it done, right? You're not the first person to ever be in this situation, and you will not be the last. And the good part about that is we know what to do, right?
Well, and I'm not saying that you need to walk the walk to
Right.
give advice, but the fact that you have been through so much probably gives you so much more respect from your clients.
Well, I don't know about that. I think what happens is they feel more like, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
I don't. They and I'm also it gives me patience because it takes time to change. That's the other thing.
does.
People come, they're like, well, what do I need to do to fix this? Well, good luck with that. Okay, I am 61 years old. Okay, it took me how many years to figure this stuff out? I'm not going to change it right now. That's why these little steps matter. Now,
Yes, they do.
and then they're like a snowball. But people really want a self-help book. They do. They want, okay, can you give me, the the 12 the 10 steps to never having a bad relationship? And I'm like, well, okay, good luck with that. Like, I'll tell you what, if you find that, you send it here, okay?
Oh
It's a
boy.
work in progress. It's a work in progress. And what happens is we get better and better over time.
Yes, yes. So how can we start to identify that we're doing better and we're choosing better?
Okay, I'm going to go back to what I said before. What is
Yep.
your body telling you? Okay?
Yep. I
How
knew
much
you were going to say
how
that.
much of the time how much of the time am I in fight and flight?
Yes.
How much of the time am I busy ruminating and having imaginary conversations in my head? Um, Instead of being in recovery, we say be where your feet are. Instead of paying attention to what's going on in my world right now, and you'll also know you're making progress by the people you're starting to invite into your world. Now, you may
Mhm.
still be in that crappy relationship where you may still, I personally have radar for the most unavailable man in the room. So I always will. That doesn't mean I have to go there. So just
No
because I
more.
notice the most
Yeah.
unavailable
Yeah.
guy,
Yeah.
what I've learned is leave him on the buffet table and walk away.
Go
Okay.
find someone else.
Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean so it's not like you're cured, you get better at choosing better. It's really like that. It's like being your own parent, right?
Mhm.
Choosing. No, honey, bad play date. You can't you can't have him. Leave him alone.
Ah,
It's almost like talking to myself like that,
it's
right?
yes, yes.
It's
We have to
like
parent ourselves. Yes.
exactly. You would not, I ask moms this all the time. Would you let your child have a play date with somebody who treats you the way he does? They're like,
Mm-mm.
well, no. Why? Why not? Well, because I don't want my baby to be yelled at. Oh,
Exactly.
we don't outgrow
Exactly.
those rules. We don't
Ah,
outgrow those play dates. Rules that moms taught you, right?
so to the friends listening who are
Yes.
who are feeling frustrated with
God
what they're
bless you.
seeing.
Yes.
So what advice do you have to the
God
friends
bless you. Okay.
who
Well,
who want to help?
first of all, it is perfectly okay Do not listen to the same story 1,700 times. Okay. It is perfectly okay to say, honey, I don't have anything new to say about this. Could we change the topic? Or could we talk about something else? Because when somebody is trying to change another person, they have a tendency to not recognize how repetitive they are because they're processing. And sometimes it's okay to, it actually does them a world of good. I think a lot of times we feel like we're being helpful by just listening. And sometimes we are. But if we've covered this ground a couple times now and you're not going to change it, this is the thing here. It's one thing if you want to process something you're changing, but if you really aren't going to leave him, you just want to give me more examples of, you know, how he lied to you. I think we could. I'm going to call timeout and say, can we choose a different topic because I want our relationship to survive, right?
Yeah. And
And
I say,
reminding women there's more to them than the relationship, right?
yes, yes. So many people run away from
I
friends
know.
because they can't hear it again.
I hear it, and because we're
Yeah,
not being brave, and part of
yeah,
being brave is to say, I can't have this conversation again, but I want to spend time with you. Can we talk about something different?
yeah, yeah.
Because the person who's doing it half the time, honestly, they have no idea how much they talk about themselves.
I I've often wondered that question about people.
I
They,
know.
I'm like, I'll say to my husband, I don't think they asked me one
Uh,
question about myself.
because when you're trying to figure out your relationship, it's all consuming and it's hard on other people.
That's
It's
true.
hard on other people. And the other thing is, if your friends don't want to be BFFs with your bad relationship, let them not be. They don't need to accept your bad choices. Look, it's
Agree.
okay if you want to date a criminal or marry them. Okay. But your BFF doesn't need to be hanging with them.
Right,
And I think that's the other reality women don't like to be honest about. They
right,
want part of their denial is everyone in their system is supposed to somehow also, right, join the Delulu and we all pretend this guy's available. He's not. He's bringing your married lover, your married partner to your family occasions. Bad idea. And because now you're forcing everybody to be like, not notice that they're married. Not okay. So
you tell them.
so part of it is okay, if I make questionable choices, sometimes that does mean not everybody's going to want to have them come over to the house.
Right,
Okay,
right.
that it's a
Makes
hard
sense
part
to
of it.
me. Yeah,
It's hard. If I have a man, if I'm with a man who's crabby and aggressive and, self-centered, yeah, we're not going to get invited to lots of parties.
right.
It means I'll probably be seeing my girlfriends individually. Okay, we won't be taking family vacations the way other people do because I'm married to somebody horrible. It's like,
Oh,
and that's sad.
yeah.
Okay, but forcing the people who love you to pretend he's not horrible is really unreasonable.
Not realistic.
No, they have
Yeah,
even less reason to put up with him. They don't love him. Okay,
exactly.
so they're like,
Exactly. Oh my goodness. You are a hoot. I knew you were going to be fun. So tell me, what are you hoping that people take away from your book? What is a message you want women to take away?
that you don't have to wait till they're better for you to start taking care of yourself.
Mm. Oh, I
Okay,
love that.
stay care. Whatever they're doing is what they're doing. Okay, you can take care of you. Okay, you don't have to wait. You don't have to put all your energy into changing them. Leave it alone. Like, okay, it is what it is. What are my options? How do I take care of me and my kids? How do I handle my life in a way where I carve out, places of sanity for myself? And then if I ever do want to change it, okay, right? But you don't
Yeah.
have to wait until you, I think women wait till they're ready to make the big decision. Like, you don't have to.
Mm-mm.
Do not have to. And I think the big decisions often come from all the small ones. Anyway,
Yes. Yes, yes. Don't underestimate those small changes.
Exactly.
I love that you talked about that. So tell everybody the name of your book, where to find the book,
Okay.
where to find you.
Okay. It's called Bad Taste, Self-Care and Financial Planning When You Have Bad Taste in Men. You can go to www.badtasteinmen.com. You can also find it on Amazon. You would type in Bad Taste with Mary Crocker Cook. You'll find it. Okay. Again, I made it short because most women who would read this are pretty stressed. So we don't
Yeah,
have time for 400 page, and,
no,
and I don't make you do any journaling exercises or anything. Okay. You don't have to do
come
any of
on.
that. Okay. You just do some reading. And I think get some ideas about how to take care of you. Um, my publisher is going to have me, I think, change the cover of it, but I like the cover and I like the title because,
Have it? Do you have it to show us in your
yeah,
hand?
yeah, looks like that. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's
It,
wrong with it? I like
I
it.
like it too. Thank you, Rebecca.
Oh
I
my
think what
goodness.
I would add to it is something that says, and you're staying.
Yeah.
Because again, not everybody's ready to do anything major, and that's all
Yeah.
right. You don't have to do major things to improve the quality of your life. Even 10%, 20%, let's do that. Let's not wait. It's not all or nothing, I guess what I'm saying.
Well, I think that this is an excellent topic. I think you nailed it. I think women need it. And I really appreciate you writing it and sharing it with us. I appreciate you
Welcome.
taking time to talk to me today.
Absolutely. Thank you
And
for having me. This was fun. You asked
uh,
good questions.
I try. I
Really.
appreciate it. I appreciate your time and expertise, and I appreciate the work that you're doing. I think it's really good work. So, this is Rebecca Green, and I want to remind everyone to spend every day laughing, learning, and loving.
Thank you for tuning in to the Whiny Palooza podcast. If you like what you heard, please be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. While you are there, leave a review. I love to hear your feedback. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.
49 faces looked to him in triumph. Over the last 12 months, they had each taken turns and promoted his business for a week at a time, driving over $987,342 in revenue. What if you had a network of 50 centers of influence who promoted your business every week for a year? Grab your copy of the #1 Amazon best-selling book, The Ultimate Guide to Growing Your Business with a Podcast, at 33% off the Amazon price by going to ultimatepodcastbook.com. Again, that website for 33% off the Amazon price is ultimatepodcastbook.com.